Hey everyone, this is Dan Dog Crypto. Hello, my fellow Zenites. Congratulations to anyone who has entered early with P-Zen. Once again, why I stressed it's an early opportunity for anyone to enter in. I've done a full breakdown trying to fully explain the tokenomics and the mechanics of it. But first of all, I wanted everyone to know my feeling towards why I've come out in supporting Conrad Zen with P-Zen. It's a quote from Napoleon Hill. Strength to grow comes only through continuous efforts and struggles. The ladder of success is never crowded at the top. The more you give, the more comes back to you. Think twice before you speak, because your words and influence will plant the seed in others of success or failure in the mind of another. So what was happening with the FUD and the confusion with Pzen, I wanted to come out to clarify that some people's decisions on whether they should or should not enter into Pulse Zen would be an influence of someone else, but they haven't done their homework. And that is key, because you have to understand truly what Pzen is. And one of the most legendary investors of all time, which would be Warren Buffett, he stated the eighth wonder of the world, which would be compound interest. And Pzen truly utilizes all those mechanics in the financial world. And what's happened here is because of the noise and the FUD that was occurring, people may not have entered. Just want you to listen to this clip. The power of compounding.
Einstein is reputed to have said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world or something like that. And it goes back to that story you probably learned when you were in grade school, where somebody did something for the king and the king said, "What can I do for you?" And he said, "Well, let's take a chessboard and put one kernel of wheat on the first square and then double it on the second and double it on the third." And the king readily agreed to it. And by the time he figured out what 2 to the 64th amounted to, he was giving away the entire kingdom. So it's a pretty simple concept, but over time, it accomplishes extraordinary things.
So Pzen truly is that. Look at what we have.
Compound interest is the
This is compound interest. Let me pause this. Sorry about that. Look at what we have. 1,055 holders of Pzen. It's still early. So understanding that early always gives us the greatest opportunity. But how does Pzen give us compound interest? Well, the pay it forward wealth generator is what gives Pzen the redistribution. So anyone that chooses to interact and purchase Pzen there's a redistribution. And as someone exits, there's a redistribution. And this redistribution is left for anyone who has taken ownership and owns P-Zen. So that's very, very, very important to understand that, because the redistribution is occurring in the real world. The government uses redistribution of income and wealth. It is a transfer of income and wealth, including physical property, from some individual to others through a social mechanism such as taxation, wealth, public service, land terms, monetary policy, confiscation, divorce. So this is occurring in true economics of the world. But what is really happening? Understanding that in order to generate an income, you need to have labor or work. And at that point, what happens is I have to meet all my obligations, my monthly expenses. Do I need a 3-month, 4-month emergency fund? So now, outside of that, I need to put my money that is left over, my earnings, to work for me. So we need to put this to work. But here's the most important thing. In this political climate and what has been happening, well, there's a lot of uncertainties, and we say we're in a bear market, which is true. So what happens, there becomes a lot of fear about what is happening today. But we have to understand how this redistribution is working in the real world. Well, if the Federal Reserve continually raises rates, what is truly happening? Well, the wealthy will suffer greater losses during deflation. Their assets are more likely to decrease in value. So the Federal Reserve tries to slow down deflation by increasing the money supply and encouraging spending. Well, what happened in 2008, 2009? That was one of our worst deflationary period of the 21st century, which economists called it the Great Depression. And what happened at that point? Bitcoin emerged out of this, giving you ownership of your assets. But we have to understand the redistribution and what is really occurring. Well, if you keep adding money into a system, what happens is you're devaluing the currency. When we look at the DXY and the dollar compared to other currencies, it's strong. But the citizens are hurting because of the continuous printing of money. And what happens, you're going to naturally have inflation. So they say, hey, we want to control inflation, so we're going to slow down the economic engine, and then they try to take air out of the balloon. But who suffers the most when they do that is the wealthy. So they're going to need to print money, which is quantitative easing. Well, what happens at that point, it's important to have your value in appreciating assets. So now the appreciating assets will grow, because who benefits the most ends up being anyone that has a larger percentage of those assets. So your goal is to always have appreciating assets. And this is what Pzen gives you. It's an ownership of the Pzen economy. It's very, very important to realize that. Having assets. And Bitcoin was introduced, and this gave people an opportunity to actually own a digital asset, but it's something that they can take ownership of, and it's theirs, not your keys, not your crypto, but you hold your ownership. Well, Pzen is that. But what Pzen, the pay it forward system, is, it's a continuous compounding time value of money with no limits to how often interest can be compounded continuously. This can occur as an infinite number of times, meaning your balance, your earning of interest at all times, because of the pay it forward wealth redistribution. All will benefit because it's a fair economic economy, Pzen. Because a Web3 token, this is a financial instrument, time value of money. Well, there's so many moving parts to Pzen that people truly do not understand. Yes, there's mathematical equations on figuring this number out. As I had stated, your wallet becomes the miner. That was just making a point to have you realize that once you have ownership of it, you will get more. What is actually happening here is once you purchase or interact with Pzen, the code, it's immutable. So because the code is immutable, it'll go on forever. It will do what it said it will do. Well, once you own your wallet, that's ownership of, you're actually owning Pzen equal. So what happens is your percentage now, if you simply do a rate, which is 72. So if you're getting a rate of return, a basic number. So if, let's say you were doing 30% on an annual basis, in order for you to compound your money, it would take 2.4 months. 2 years and 4 months. So, or 24 months actually. That's what it would take. That's at 30%. So what your Pzen represents is the ownership, but there's so many moving parts to this. This compounding, it's just not compounded with time and the rate that you're getting. Your rate is always changing because of the pay it forward redistribution wealth builder, which has been designed in the mechanics and the code of Pzen. Well, the rate at which this happens, now you have someone making a purchase the size of their purchase. That gets redistributed. Someone that is already inside Pzen and decides, you know what, this is giving me what I need. Do I need to withdraw X percentage if you choose to? It gives you a freedom to do what you choose to do, but time will always build more value. And that's why when you have a compounding continuous financial instrument, it's amazing what it will do to generate wealth. to call it passive income is very lightly. It's a continuous compounding effect that is occurring at all times. So there's so many moving parts to this. And then it's a deflationary environment, so every interaction that is occurring, your 0.01% that gets eliminated, what does it do? Your ownership will increase. So the percentage that now out of the pay it forward redistribution goes up. You receive more Pzen tokens. Well, because you have more Pzen tokens that just automatically enter into your wallet as every interaction is occurring, your percentage of ownership goes up. So you have price appreciation, which is great, but what's actually happened, this is an economic engine. So Pzen and your wallet and Pzen token represents ownership of the whole ecosystem of Pzen. It's a financial instrument, time value of money, using continuous compounding. This truly is a revolution, and what started this revolution was Bitcoin and Ethereum to be able to have smart contracts because you program it in. The beauty with Pzen is once you make your purchase, you don't have to interact with any other contract, putting yourself possibly at risk. You do not have to stake it and put yourself at risk. Your wallet is doing everything because the code tells you it will do everything. Pzen, as I stated, is an opportunity of a lifetime once you understand the power of not just compound interest, continuous compounding that is occurring with the redistribution. Understanding what's happened in our economy, they have to continually print money, and the money will go into assets that appreciate. You see the money that's pouring into cryptocurrency. Pzen becomes a financial instrument that will create generational wealth. I wanted to get this out. There is so much that I wanted to speak to you about, but I will end here. Congratulations that anyone that has gotten in. Remember, understand your time horizon. You have your short, your mid, and your long term. Pzen is a financial instrument utilizing continuous compounding through the redistribution system. I will talk to you soon. Keep doing, stay strong, understand the value and what possibilities you have, but your financial freedom is with time. So understand that, and I wish everyone the best. Share it with your friends, share it with a loved one. Do not keep it a secret. If you interact with others, let them know the beauty of Pzen, because you know what? It's an economy that is redistributing and helping all that interact. I wish everyone the best. Talk to you soon.